on the show today in the next edition of Golden Boy series is Mr. S.P. Dangayach, an alumni of IIMA with over 45 years of service, with over a decade as managing director. He has helped build brand Sintex. He's currently the chairman of Environment and Plastic Committee of Plastindia, also a founder trustee of Innovative Thought Forum, Think, Act, Tank. Also on the board of several companies, he has featured in best-selling book, Stay Hungry and Stay Foolish, as a role model for entrepreneurs. A very warm welcome to the show, Insights with Nidhi Verma, sir.
Namaskar.
Sir,
Nidhi, namaskar.
Sir, how do you look back at the enormous journey that you've had and all the achievements during your very long career?
I'm indeed feel very satisfied. And I must tell you that it has been a very interesting journey. I started my career after passing out from IIM Ahmedabad with Asian Paints, which was a very well established company and a very well managed company, and even at that point of time. But I was itching to get into something which will be which will be giving me opportunity to use my first of all education plus my bent of mind, which was a bit entrepreneurial. So I opted to join plastics division of the Bharat Vijay Mills Limited, called Sinterplast Containers at that time, which was a very small outfit, with a condition that I be given autonomous responsibility if I prove myself. I convinced the owners then, and I was finally able to inspire them to give me complete independent charge as a CEO at the age of around 22, 23. A very, very fruitful, delightful and happy journey of around 42 to 43 years.
Splendid, sir. So were there any misses along the path which you want to share with us, which will also be a source of learning for all of us?
Well, successes and failures always travel together. And I can cite one or two which will be very probably illustrative of what I'm trying to say. I was very passionate about introduction of new products which were green or clean or which were environment friendly. And I zeroed on to plastic windows. In those days, PVC windows, now called UPVC windows. And I worked very hard on promoting the concept of PVC windows as energy saving windows or sound insulating windows as maintenance free windows. And after around 7, 8, 10 years of hard work, I had to give up, or we as a management thought that our efforts were not yielding much result, and therefore we withdrew from the line of PVC windows, which later on was picked up by Fenista and others. And today UPVC windows are indeed premium and very successful windows. So that's one thing which I always believe we could have succeeded with. The second thing that I would like to tell you is in respect of affordable housing. I can tell you that the term affordable housing was coined by me in a meeting there in Delhi. And at that time, low-cost housing was in vogue. Everybody talked about low-cost housing. And in that small round table, I suggested that calling low cost sometimes they shows low quality and does not connote and does not inspire something good. And why not we throw another term and why not we call it by some other name? And that's when I suggested that we can call it affordable housing instead of low-cost housing. I always believe that good quality housing for the poorest of the poor is essential for the development of the country. And that's how I worked a lot on affordable housing and did a lot of work while at Sintex on affordable housing. We could not do very profitable business because of a variety of factors, but I feel that it's one area where we could have done a lot more than what we did in 5, 7, 8 years.
You are a pioneer in the rotomoulding industry. How do you look at the future of rotomoulding industry in India? Which areas we need to focus on more? How do you compare the advances in rotomoulding in India with some of the other leading countries which are excelling in the rotomoulding applications?
Rotomoulding has its own pluses and minuses, and we all know very well for hollow articles, rotomoulding is a preferred option as against injection molding or blow molding, particularly in the larger sizes. We pioneered water storage tanks. Some other people also did other things. But I must say that rotomoulding potential has not been exploited in toto. Water tanks became a hit, and it had, the many other entrants, and probably over 300-400 processes maybe there even today. But nobody is working on creating market for all other solutions that are feasible. To give an example, underground structures, that means underground water tanks, underground manholes, underground, other kinds of articles, that can become a very big business, and it can speed up construction, it can speed up infrastructure. But as luck would have it, there isn't any company which is working systematically in getting these things accepted by the specifiers or the users or the departments and create a business model around it. Second opportunity that could be there in case of activity toys or road furniture, or you talk about school furniture. In case of Corona, like overnight, there was a business available for roto-molded beds. If somebody would have come up with roto-molded beds, possibly thousands and thousands of beds could have been made available at an affordable price all across the country, which we have seen happening with other materials. So that is a kind of a thing that can be done very well. Within rotomoulding, I always believe that raw material manufacturers, because of low volumes, are not much interested in evolving new grades and new compounds. If that possibly happens, further applications can also be developed. Lastly, biogas plants and waste management systems are ideal from the angle of developing and manufacturing rotomoulding. I always believe, and I always think, that family-sized biogas plants or the other things can be done very well in rotomoulding, and it can become a business probably as big as water storage tanks in years to come. But industry or individual players in the rotomoulding have to come together, develop the products, get them accepted all across, and above all, I would say marketing and business creation has to be pursued by them.
Huge opportunity there for the RM sector, sir. Thank you for outlining that. You are quite a passionate proponent of green, clean, and sustainable development, and devoted your efforts to evolve products and solutions in the relevant domains, sir. Could you tell us some significant milestones in these areas which are close to your heart?
First of all, I am very passionate proponent of biogas, and I think that whatever work we had done at Sintex is only tip of the iceberg. It can probably grow 100 times more, for the simple reason that biogas plants are ideal for converting so-called animal waste or the vegetable or fruit waste or the kitchen waste or even the human waste into biogas and fertilizer. So this is something that I believe has got a tremendous future. Second is obviously the wastewater treatment, and we at Sintex had pioneered package type waste treatment plants. Lastly, I have been a strong proponent of renewable energy when renewable energy was not considered as something that could challenge. So we developed in Sintex solar water heaters, which were all plastic solar water heaters, and they became quite successful. But we had service issues in 2 or 3% or 4% of the cases. We were having problems, and company or our board thought that complaints coming in large numbers on that count is not something that is going to be good for the overall brand Sintex, and therefore we had to drop it. But Government of India right now has recognized the value of this. On 15th August, our Honorable Prime Minister said that we want to go organic, and he talked about organic fertilizers in a big way. And last week, FCO, that is Fertilizer Control Order, was also modified to give, for the first time, recognition to liquid slurry and fertilizer that will be made out of these biogas plants. So I think we are moving in the right direction, and whatever involvement, whatever you may say, inputs that have been given to the government are being today acted upon.
Brilliant, sir. I think huge amount of body of work that has been done in the fields of sustainability as well as renewable energy and alternate sources of energy, which will take a lot of momentum with the help of government push. So, what is your viewpoint on another very important point, that is the brief on the draft EPR framework? And what are the practical solutions to meet EPR in the near future?
Very interesting question. You know, draft EPR framework is right now there for people to comment on. I believe tomorrow is the last day, 31st August. I must tell you that it has to be relooked because there are quite a few inconsistencies and anomalies. First of all, let me tell you that solid waste management rules came in the year 2016. Right? They were followed by plastic waste management rules 2016. They were amended in 2018 and 2019. Somewhere in the year 2018, 2019, single-use plastics came into a very great circulation and they became really a matter of concern. Now, single-use plastics report of UNEP has to be seen because there are so many products that are considered to be single-use plastics and are required to be properly managed and treated. Now, that particular thing and the PWM probably are not on the same page. They are not in consistency and they are not, say, probably on the same frequency. So there are many, many items that are missed out in PWM. PWM covers only 3 or 4 things. It covers carry bags. It covers multi-layered films and sheets. It covers simple plastic sheets. And lastly, products made out of plastic sheets. But you don't have EPS products, you don't have cutlery, you don't have the water bottles, you don't have, say, tens of things that are also single-use plastics. So first of all, PWM 2016, along with amendments, and then, the UNEP report, they are not in consent. That's the first thing. Secondly, you must understand, or we must all understand, that SW and PWM together allocated responsibilities to different people. Waste generators, including you and me and your institutions, are producing waste while we are carrying out various activities. So we are the primary producers of the waste and therefore have the primary responsibility. The second set of responsibilities are on the local governments, municipalities, municipal corporations. They are the ones who take the charge for collection, transfer, segregation, etc., along with the primary generators. And under the overall, you may say, system that is prevalent all over the world, extended producer responsibility was also brought into the 2016. Now, extended producer responsibility, by the very nature of the terminology, means it is extended. It is not the main responsibility. The responsibility number 1 and 2, the primary and secondary, should be discharged. And that's why Urban Development Ministry of Government of India came up with a document in the year 2019 talking about exactly the way plastic waste must be managed. And therein again, it was admitted that the primary responsibility is with the waste generator, secondary responsibility is with all the local governments, urban or rural, and they should move into that direction and then give the material to PROs or others for further processing and further management. So I think a very comprehensive discussion on this particular point is necessary. Lastly, I would like to tell you that post-corona, things are going to be very different. In the corona, we are seeing use, emergence and utility of different kinds of single-use plastics. Now, they also have to be brought into the fold because we will have to manage that particular waste also in the very same and a serious manner. At the same time, I believe that there should be a bigger awareness campaign and solution-centric kind of approach rather than blaming plastics industry left, right, and center. I am definitely not the one to endorse this viewpoint of the policymakers or the implementers or the authorities to go on blaming only the plastics. It is a collective responsibility of all, which has been again very well defined, which has been earmarked. All of us must discharge that responsibility.
Sir, finally, would you kindly share your words of wisdom with our audience? How our plastic industry organizations should act in the coming days of COVID?
I would certainly like to request everybody to look at the front end also as seriously as they look at the back end. By that I mean business opportunities have to be created markets have to be created. And for that, you have to work a lot. At Sintex, we developed maybe 20 different concepts and products for the first time in the country. Each one of them involved a lot of work, right from conceptualization to technical development to production, but a lot more in the marketing or business development space, wherein we had to slog a lot for changing the mindset and selling the concept. Once the concept got accepted, well, a lot of people would have entered. Only today I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, the kind of opportunities that are there for skilling, for conversion of plastic intermediate products into end products is immense from the angle of value addition. And I gave a simple example of PVC profiles to be converted into windows. Now that itself can unleash thousands and thousands of enterprises and can create employment. And then you can look at furniture, or you can look at water harvesting structures, or you can look at a whole lot of the furniture articles, or look at toys. I mean, everywhere there is a scope. So I personally believe that each and every, you may say, ambitious player in the field of plastics should look at business development, marketing and front end as much as they are paying attention to in the back end. So that may possibly give them results, and that will also give them a competitive advantage as a first mover advantage, and they'll be able to build a brand, and then they'll be able to naturally build a very, very good valuation and business around whatever they have done.
Sir, half a decade of such rich experience. So see you at the age of 23. I have not heard so far. You have shared with us your thoughts, your views, and your guidance. Cannot thank you enough. It is going to be very valuable to our audience, and we shall see you soon on the other side, sir. Dhanyavad, sir.
Thank you so much, Nidhi ji. You have been such a wonderful host and organizer of obviously these events and Elite Place, and I once again wish to compliment you and thank you for giving me a chance to share my thoughts. Thank you so much.
Namaskar. Dhanyavad, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the next session of the Golden Boy series, where we seek valuable guidance from our seniors who have spent almost their entire life working for our industry. We bring to you today Shri Pushp Raj Singhvi ji, ex-VC and MD Borouge India. Mr. Singhvi has been responsible for setting up shop for Borouge in 1999 at Mumbai and establishing the brand in India in record time. Prior to joining Borouge, Mr. Singhvi worked for IPCL for over 22 years, started as a senior sales officer and rose to become the general manager. With over 40 years of rich functional experience, he has been a very active member of our fraternity with a deep-rooted professional interest and understanding of our polymer industry. A very warm welcome to you, sir, to the show Insights with Nidhi Verma.
Thank you very much, Nidhi, for this kind introduction. I was indeed looking forward for this short interview. Thanks for giving me the time.
Your blessing, sir. Sir, how do you see the polymer market future in the next 1 year in India with capacity augmentations coming up and also availability of resins from overseas?
Yeah, I, for one, do not foresee any degrowth because our fear was that we will be having a degrowth. But I think first 45 days bombshell that we had because of Corona, I think we have left it behind. And most of the big guys, they have already started their engines with full speed. So I personally feel that we will have consumption level exactly at par with what it was in 2019-20. So I am not seeing any degrowth. The setback will be for the industries like white goods, industries like domestic wares, industries like automotive. These industries will definitely have setback, but this will be compensated more by flexible packaging for fertilizers, for food, and it will be more compensated by healthcare products, including the non-woven. So I feel that there will be no degrowth, which we were fearing at the onset of 25th of March, that there will be degrowth. But I personally feel that with the interaction with the industry, I feel that there will be no degrowth. We will be almost at par with what it was in 2019-20.
On that positive note, sir, you've been instrumental from your IPCL days, the Baroda days, to bring new polymers into the country. As per you, what actions the Indian plastic industry should have taken much earlier?
I have 2-3 things about Indian plastic processing industry. Number one, it's very, very agile, very active. And they have always risen to the occasion of, they have always outclassed the total availability of raw material by raw material manufacturers, and they have been always ahead and insisting on government to import. So industry has been definitely very, very proactive, and they have progressed very well. The only thing which industry has not done, and they have done incorrectly, what you mentioned was compromise on the quality. That we have seen serious setback in the production of pipes. We have seen serious setback in the production of whether it is HDPE pipes, whether it is PVC pipe, whether it is drip laterals. So people have gone in either for mixing unwanted material, or they have gone in for some spurious material. So that has given a setback. And similar setback the industry has faced in the case of woven sex. It has faced in the case of HMHDP. There they have again compromised either with reprocessed material, or they have compromised with the material which was undesirable just to bring down the cost. So this has really given a setback, and this has made us totally unaware of the international market, because we could not have gone with these products in the international market. And the last thing which industry has really been shying away is on the innovation. The industry has neither designed any product nor it has innovated. And most unfortunate part is that in a country of our size, even today, we don't have a lunch box of our own, where the requirement is running into millions. We don't have, we just copy what has happened in other countries or what has happened in the other continents. So this is what we need to do, and industry needs to have interaction with the design institutions, with the many universities. They have started the design courses. So we need to have, so industry will do well if it can address on the innovation and can reduce their dependence on use of unwanted material. I put it.
Very well brought out, sir. I think jab jago tabhi savera. Even now, if all of us look at these gaps and work on building it, we shall start with a new beginning.
Yeah, raw material manufacturers, they have really done a yeoman service, particularly companies like Reliance. They had started imparting education on the quality of PVC pipes. They had actually educated each and every government official as to how to measure what is the extent of calcium carbide that pipe should have, and what is the extent it should not have. So it has established a very, very good name for PVC pipe. And similarly, the other companies, they have really worked very hard for making the industry aware that the time has come. And therefore, we have seen a very large casualties in the industry, where people did not really go for the quality, and they have really gone by roadside. And the big companies, whether it is Supreme or whether it is Phenolics or Prince or Gen Irrigation, they have really rapidly grown. And the new companies like Astra and all that, purely on account of quality. So they have done very well. But industry has lagged as far as innovation is concerned. Industry has lagged in compromising this.
Understood, sir. What is your view on the status of availability of best polymers in the country for the processors?
Well, country now produces almost all the polymers except some of the specialty polymers, and you will be surprised, though you are very intimately associated with the industry, you will be surprised that in India, we import something like about 100,000 tons plus material for steel pipe coating, which goes in for steel pipe coating, and which does not form the part of our routine plastic processing industry. It's a very, very high value product. And the adhesives which are used along with this, they are sold in the range of something like $2,000 plus. So these products are not manufactured, but the acceptance by industry for these products has been very rapid. And the companies like Borealis, they have really mastered the art of positioning these products. And similarly, if you look at the experience of companies like ExxonMobil, companies like Dow, companies like DuPont, they have always brought specialty products, be it metallocene, be it hexene, and they have been able to educate people, and the industry has really accepted. And if we look at today, the consumption of metallocene itself is so big, and it has revolutionized the flexible packaging market. So
Yes.
industry is ready to accept anything which is new, and which industry will be able to absorb.
The converters will have the choice to get whatever
Convert
quality they
will have
want
the
and for
choice.
the best
The
price.
only thing is that Indian manufacturers of raw materials, they have still confined themselves to the normal tradable grades, and they have not gone in for specialized grades, which leaves us an option open for the foreign companies to be invited here and put up their shops here. The foreign companies, they find it very difficult as far as the raw material is concerned, basic raw material is concerned, because either all the refineries are owned by government, or a fully integrated plant of the Reliance industry, where it does not leave any room for any raw material. So raw material procurement becomes a very, very serious issue. But the foreign companies, they are willing to put up refineries if they are assured of the basic crude, and if they are allowed to import the crude. With the integrated plant, I think India can allow these companies to put up their units, and the processing industry is well geared to accept them.
Well, then let's see if the foreign companies do put up refineries in India.
Few companies had make efforts, and I was part of my previous company, Goros, that they did have a lot of discussion with the government officials, and this I'm talking about something like 15 years before. But when they realized that getting license for refinery was not possible, so they literally gave it up.
So it's going to be still difficult for companies to get licenses. Is it the same 15 years later?
Yeah, I think so. But government is very open now, and I am sure the present government is really open, and they will look forward for reduction in the dependence on imports, and have our own products here within India.
Okay. So finally, I wanted to ask you a question, that what, as per you, will be the game changer for the Indian plastic industry?
You see, 3-4 things have happened in the recent past. Number one, government has announced a very, very high degree of investment and support to the agriculture industry. And agriculture and plastics, they are really intertwined. And government has also announced a very big stimulus for the small scale industry. If these two things are combined, and if government is very, very serious about it, then I think the sky will be the limit. The only industry which has a very serious apprehension is twofold. Number one, the dipping of Indian rupee value. We have seen it constantly going down, and it is 75 plus today. And industry does not know where it is finally going to dip to. The second apprehension which industry has is on account of the threat or fear of increase in the import duty, because this keeps coming in the industry, that as it is, we are hit by the dwindling of rupee prices or dipping of rupee prices. On the top of it is the import duty is increased further. The working capital requirement will go up very high. The plastics, which are very competitive today, they will become uncompetitive, and whatever are the international prices which have taken a dip in the last 6 months will not be able to take advantage. So if government wants this industry to really grow, they will have to assure that yes, for the time being, we are not looking at the increase in import duty. So this fear keeps coming from time to time in the minds of the industry.
Yes, I think this has been, this keeps coming up in all the debates and panels recently also. You're right.
That's right. That's right. Few things I would like to share with you. That one is that our relationship with China is deteriorating, and to my mind, this should give a phenomenal opportunity for us, for the plastic processing industry and for the government, to support this industry, particularly for import of toys, the import of things which we are normally getting imported from, whether it is Holi festival, whether it is Diwali festival, whether it is our Independence Day celebration, whether it is Ganesh festival or artificial flowers, that the total amount it is running into billions of dollars equivalent. It gives a tremendous opportunity for investment to take place, the employment generation, and the consumption of plastics. So if the government is very, very serious about its anti-China tirade, they must not only be rhetoric, they must be very serious in implementing this. And industry is geared, and we have very, very large number of people employable for this. And the second thing is that unlike other economies, we are not dependent on exports. Our domestic market itself is so big. Our cost of power is still reasonable. Our cost of labor is still reasonable. So we have all the opportunities possible. So government should really think big, invest big. And I would rather say that, you know, any great medicine or any great drug is not good enough if it is not given to a patient who is almost going to die. So the government should very seriously think in terms of supporting this industry, which will give tremendous employment, which will give tremendous increase in the investment, and this is the need of the hour.
Sir, you've always been a wonderful boss. You've been a wonderful leader. You've been a friend of everyone in the industry. Such valuable suggestions, sir, for our industry people as well as the policy makers to actually do the timely actions when the huge opportunity can be taken. Otherwise, it will be late. It will go to other countries. Thank you so much, Singhvi, sir. It's always a pleasure to speak to you, and especially at this time. We are going to see you soon on the other side. All of us, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for the time.